So Project Triangle Strategy was recently announced during the Nintendo Direct in February, and it's one that immediately caught my attention due to the art style, the studio developing the game, and the fact that it's a very early demo and they're allowing us to give feedback on. So Project Triangle Strategy is a new SRPG, which is a tactical role-playing game, and got fans of Final Fantasy Tactics very, very excited indeed. And it's coming from the same studio that brought us Octopath Traveler in 2018, and once again shows off some great 2D pixel art on layered 3D backgrounds. It looks really stylish, and if you're a fan of pixel art and old-school SNES games, then this one is definitely going to appeal to you. So one of the best features of the announcement at the Nintendo Direct was the fact a demo was available right now, even though the game isn't going to be available until 2022. And the team want to get early feedback, which means you can play a slice of the game immediately. So the demo itself isn't small, it's approximately 4 hours long, depending on your battle time. Given this is a tactical RPG from Square Enix, comparisons are going to be drawn with this and Final Fantasy Tactics, a much-loved version of the Final Fantasy series. Project Triangle Strategy is the code name at the moment, which is subject to change. However, having lived with the name for a few weeks, I now kind of hope they keep it. It's been a relatively good period for tactics games over the last few years, with Into the Breach in 2018, Wargroove and Fire Emblem Three Houses in 2019, and then Gears Tactics and Arthurian Pendragon releasing in 2020. And Project Triangle Strategy has a wide variety to the battle system, and there's a lot in there for tactics fans they're going to want to jump into. You got your standard jobs for pieces like Soldier, Knight, Doctor, Scout, and you can move your pieces around the grid board. Different pieces have different attacks, and some can move further than others, and the game implements really well the standard tactics gameplay, but throws in a few features of its own. So first of all, there's backstabbing, and at the end of a turn, units choose to face in a certain direction, and attacks from behind are deadly. If you can shift your pieces to trap the enemy in a pincer maneuver, with one piece on either side of the enemy, then your pieces will attack simultaneously. As tactics games go, Project Triangle Strategy does a good job. The art style is fantastic, and the music and the audio draws you in. As well as the battles themselves, the other engaging part of the game is in between the battles. So much like Fire Emblem Three Houses, Project Triangle Strategy gives you a great story to chew on while you're waiting for the next fight. So there's a warning by Square Enix that you probably won't understand the story in the demo. You're essentially being thrown into the mid-game where characters are established. You should prepare to be a little bit confused. I didn't really mind this too much and fully accepted being thrown into the deep end, but it is something you probably want to bear in mind. So the story in the game is funny, it's silly, it's classic medieval storytelling. You play as a prince called Serenoa, and near the start of the game you're stuck in a castle waiting to be attacked from Easefrost. So thereafter, someone called Roland, a party member of yours, and they say if you hand him over, then no one is going to get hurt. So it's a good way to get the player invested in early with a dramatic moment like this and an impactful choice. Hand over Roland or protect him from the oncoming attack. The interesting gameplay mechanic is where you vote on the outcome. So some of your party think you should hand over Roland to keep the peace, and some of them think you should stand and fight, and some of them simply just don't know what to do. As the main protagonist, you have the opportunity to persuade and influence each member one by one and turn them to your way of thinking. So at the start of that conversation, there aren't too many dialogue options for you to try and persuade your team. But head off into town and gather some more information by speaking to the townsfolk, and you'll gather clues and other useful bits of information that you can take back and use in your armory to try and persuade your team to your way of thinking. So it pays, therefore, to try and dig up as much info as possible and take that back to the conversation, as this will give you much more ammo to influence your fellow players. The added politics in Project Triangle Strategy, it's a lot of fun, and there's a lot to it as well. It's a whole other game mode alongside the tactics game, and both combined, this is going to provide a very meaty final product that will likely take tens or maybe hundreds of hours to complete. The thing that caught my eye immediately with the game was the visual style, and this is a build on the style from Octopath Traveler. If you haven't played that game and you like old school RPGs, then you should definitely give Octopath Traveler a go while we wait for the final version of Project Triangle Strategy. So the game has gorgeous 2D sprite characters that sit on a 3D-ish background, something that the studio calls HD 2D. It's very good, it really works well with this type of game, so it manages both nostalgia and modern together, which is a really tough balance to achieve. So the Project Triangle strategy demo is free to check out and download from the Nintendo Switch eShop right now. And if anything I've mentioned here grabs your attention, or you like tactical RPGs, then I'd recommend giving it a download and playing it through yourself. It's a good chunk of the game, albeit a little bit confusing from a narrative point of view. However, it'll give you a good dose of tactics if that's what you've been craving. Well, that's it for my first impressions of Project Triangle strategy, and as always, thank you so much for watching. Hit that subscribe button down below, subscribe to This Week in Video Games. If you want to join the community, check out the Discord link in the description, or you can follow me on Twitter at TWIVG Podcast. If you enjoyed this video or found it useful, liking and sharing the video would really help me out. Otherwise, check out the other videos on the channel. Thanks again, I'll see you in the next video.
He leaves us no recourse! Swords!
Never. S-Frost will answer for its crimes today.
Are these the wages of loyalty? Raised earth and burnt corpses.
You and no other must decide how we proceed.
You are a leader, and must be the beacon others look to when the night is darkest.
Together with these fields, today you burn!
I promise to do all in my power to see us through this safely, every last one of us.